imagine you lived in a swimming pool, okay? You lived in a swimming pool, but when you were born, you lived in the ocean, okay? So, like, obviously, going from the ocean to, basically a bathtub, you're like, what is this? Like, come on. Whales get frustrated. That's why if you ever go to SeaWorld and you see animals just sitting in a corner of the pool that they're in, and they just sit there for hours, or they'll just maybe circle a little bit and then stop. Circle and then stop. They rake their teeth against the sides of the pools. That's why they pull their teeth out, because they're just raking. They're just grinding up and down to the point where there's nothing there, and they will since they're in the pool all day and there's no shade at all for them, they get sunburnt and dehydrated, and the SeaWorld trainers and the people there, they put on a black oxide pigment over on it to make them look like the black and white of the orca that everyone knows and loves so much. If you really think about it, it's so stupid. They feed medication through with the fish to them. They basically just masturbate whales. I mean, okay, granted, they don't anymore because they said we're gonna stop breeding, yet they still have all these fucking whales in their pools, and I'm like, you're just gonna make the rest of the whales that you have just live in a fucking pool for the rest of their life? Even though you just said you're gonna stop breeding and you're gonna stop doing they're gonna eventually they're trying to get this the orca live wild orca shows out, because all they're doing is performing tricks for you. That's not what they were supposed to be doing in life. I mean, come on, do you think about it? Are you ever gonna see a great white shark in captivity? No. You know why? Because they can't. It'd be too much fucking money. It'd be too much for them to be able to do that. So you'll never see one. Yet, orcas are just as big and have been known to eat great white sharks. Eat them, okay? And yet, it's okay and it's acceptable for us to have them in captivity because, oh, look at the big whale. Look at all the flips he can do. Look how he can splash us with his big tail. Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me you would pay money to go see a whale that's just doing flips and tricks for you when it's this massive, beautiful, amazing creature, and that's how you want to see it? I would rather happen to be out on a boat somewhere and you just happen to see a whole pot of them, with their big dorsal fins just coming out of the water. That would be so moving and beautiful. I don't even think you can understand. I mean, I can't understand it because I've never seen them. But, there's no way in hell that someone's going to be able to go to SeaWorld, see them, and be like, oh my god, this is great. And then go out and see them in the wild and be like, nah, SeaWorld was better, man. SeaWorld was better. Alright, seriously. SeaWorld should release the whales they have into a sea pen, which, if you look up, because I can even put links in the description, there are plenty of examples of people that have shown ideas for SeaWorld. They're like, hey, you can do this, But, they say that it's no, the ones that most of the whales that we have now in captivity were born in captivity, so they have, basically no idea what the fuck they were doing. But I'm like, you're releasing them into a sea pen. You're not just, pushing them out in the open and be like, here you go, have fun in the ocean, If you put them in a sea pen, even the ones that were born in captivity, that's still going to be more water for them to, swim around in. And even whales that have been born in captivity still will swim the pool and just sit there for hours. They don't do anything, and it's stupid. And they're like, no, we're not, they won't comment on it. Or they're like, no, most of the whales now that we have were born in captivity. Yeah, because the rest of them fucking died because they're not supposed to be meant to in this pool when they're such huge creatures. And another lie they'll tell you is that usually males, live in the wild to be like 30, 40 years old, and like female, I think it's like maybe 50 or something around. It's very low. Like, it's not a lot. But if you look, and we know this, you can read about it. They have the lifespan of humans. Like, I mean, males are probably a little bit less. Females definitely can live up to like 80, 90. You know, I'm pretty sure, I think they've documented a whale that they were like 100, like they were like, that whale's 100 years old. Like, and yet you want to tell us this bullshit of, no, they only live this long in the wild, but they actually live longer in captivity. And I'm like, bitch, how many whales do you have here that have lived past 20 years? And if you think about the whales that have died when they're older, like, for example, Tilikum, obviously, who was the big star of Blackfish. He wasn't born in captivity. He was born in the wild. He died about 2 years ago now, and he was 35 years old. So, I mean, not saying that's bad. I mean, that's probably close to relatively around the age that males sort of live, you know, kind of. But, like, why would you... It's just... Most whales are not supposed... I don't even know. Like, it's hard for me to, like, film a video about this, because it frustrates me so much how so many people, how, you know, like, some people can be such big things for, like, animal, you know, protectors and shit, and yet we still have orcas and even dolphins just in pools for our fucking enjoyment, to play tricks for us when they're supposed to be out in the wild. That's where they're supposed to be. It's just where they're supposed to be. That's like all I can say is where they're supposed to be. And I tell you right now, the number one reason why SeaWorld does not want to actually put their older whales out into a sea pen to let them reign out like the remaining of their lives is because if you let go of the orcas, what else are people going to come to SeaWorld for? Like, honestly. They're not. No one's going to go to SeaWorld. Tell me right now, you go to the SeaWorld show, you go to SeaWorld to go see a dolphin show? Or to ride their cool little kiddie rides? Or have a cool snack or get a plushie? No! You come to see the orcas because everyone goes to Shamu Stadium. And then they watch the big show, and then you're like, I don't know, if you're in the front rows, you're gonna get soaked. That's the splash zone. Nah. Like, they would have no money. They would go out of business. They'd be bankrupt, and that'd be the end of the fucking story. That's the reason why they won't do it. That is the 100% of the reason why they won't do it. And they'll tell you some other bullshit. Be like, no, it's because, yeah, the older whales, or they've never been in the ocean, so they don't know. And I'm like, no, you could definitely, you're trying to just bullshit us into making people believe that it's like, oh, okay, I understand that. And I'm like, what? No! They would have no money. That's the reason why a business is going to do this. I mean, SeaWorld opened up in, like, the 60s? Like, 64, 65, I think, somewhere around that age, like, time. And if you look at it, there's a quote from one of the people who actually, like, was a co-founder of SeaWorld. And he said, like, and I quote, like, the main reason for SeaWorld was not for, like, people to get, like, to learn shit about orcas and stuff. It was for people's enjoyment. That's what it was. And it's like, so you're gonna go back and look at that and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I see. Release the fucking whales. I don't know how much more I can just say, release the whales. It's not where they're supposed to be. They're not happy. You can watch so many movies, so many clips of people going to, like, SeaWorld and other parks, because SeaWorld is not the only park, mind you. There's parks in Japan, there's parks in, like, South America that have even been affiliated with SeaWorld. They claim they're not, but they are. Like, straight up here. And it's the most stupidest thing, because they just want to make a lot of money. That's all they want to do. They just want to make a lot of money. So don't go to SeaWorld don't fucking support that shit, because it's not. And I understand if you have little kids and you're like, no, but I, have my little, 4-year-old see a fucking orca. I'm like, yeah, that'd be really cool. But you would much rather love it seeing them in the wild. I can't even explain that enough, how much more you would love to see them in the wild. They are the most magnificent, beautiful creatures you will ever see. They are so beautiful. And the collapsed dorsal fin shit, where they're always like, oh yeah, there's a whatever percentage of whales in the wild have a collapsed dorsal fin. And there's been orca researchers that have been like, no, there's not. They've never seen one. I mean, there's a lot of orcas. I mean, there could be some, but they've never seen an orca in the wild that has a collapsed dorsal fin like that. It's just not a thing. Or how people, obviously with Tilikum, which was very broadcast about, because I mean, if you think about it, Tilikum is born in the early 70s, so when he died, he was about 35 years old. If you think about it, he didn't really get much name recognition until 2010, in February of 2010, when he killed the SeaWorld trainer, Don Bradshaw. Honestly, and if you read, and obviously it goes depth into that movie, the beginning of the movie starts with that, where it's showing you that it's this, the whole, the 911 call of people calling to the, and they're like, there's at first, there's a whale has a trainer in the water, and he has to let her go, and then it's there's a dead body, with a whale in SeaWorld, But, if you go back, obviously, if you watch the movie, and if not, I'll reiterate here. That was 2010 when he killed Don Bradshaw. About in the early 90s, I believe it was 1999, 98, somewhere in there. SeaWorld came in one morning and found Tilikum with a man. His name was Daniel Dukes. He was in his early 20s. He was more of a loner, kind of that's what they spin it as. I don't really know. I wasn't there. And that he basically stayed out after hours and got past the guards and all that shit, and then they basically, when you want to have a magical night with an orca, and they found him in the pool laying over Tilikum's back. His clothes were gone, his genitals were bitten off, and he's got bite marks all over him. So obviously, and they have former SeaWorld trainers on there talking about the incident. They're like, I honestly don't know how that happened, because there's a night trainer who's there's someone there constantly, obviously, just make sure they're okay, and there's cameras everywhere. How could it have been till the early morning when the new the morning trainer came in that now he sees that shit? How does nobody notice that a man just slipped back past and was in the tank with the orca? How do you do that? Unbelievable. So that's another one. That's two now. And then back early, before Tilikum was even at SeaWorld, he was at a little park called Sealand of the Pacific or something. It was in Canada anyways, okay? And it was really small. It was literally it was in the ocean, or in the water, actual water. It wasn't a pool, but it was a tarp, little tarp circle. So I mean, obviously you could go down far, but it was just a little pool. So people would just come around this tarp, and there's these whales coming out, and you're just woo, it's fun. And a trainer was around. She wasn't even a trainer. She was just a little kid. She was 17, 18 years old, and she was with the whales because that's her part-time job. And her foot accidentally got dipped in the water, and then she fell in. And the whales, Tilikum pulled her down, and they have eyewitness accounts of the people, because they know which whale it was, because Tilikum has a flopped up dorsal fin. So they're he's no, that one grabbed her and kept pulling her down. So at this point, he's killed a person, and then that park, obviously, after that whole thing, they had to close because they were just oh shit, it was just too much, So they closed, and obviously trying to make a buck out of before they're leaving. They're trying to sell these whales, and SeaWorld's like, ooh, a male killer whale. They need one. I need one, because, they didn't have a breeder. So, like, they got him, and even though they barely, it was ridiculous. They didn't even know, like, anything about that entire thing. And it was stupid. A lot of the former trainers that talk on this movie had no idea that incident even happened, or they were told it wasn't, like, related, or, like, anything. And it's just like, what? Fucking blows my mind. Like, how can you not know, or even still know that, and let the animal, like, breed the animal? Like, if you have a rabid pit bull that's bit a human, especially when he has a tolerance, like, who's mean towards humans, you have a person that does that, or a dog that does that, you don't go and then go, oh yeah, this dog just bit a human, but I'm definitely gonna, breed it some more. You don't do that with a pit bull. Like, you just don't. But it's a killer whale, and, they don't have money for all that shit, so they're like, of course, it's fine. Anyways, maybe this is a part 1 of this video, or a part, just 1 video. I don't know. But that is my spat on SeaWorld. And if you liked it, you can, comment for me and just let me know. Send me ideas of other videos you want to think of, maybe. Any of that shit. But I love talking to you about this stuff. Like, a lot of, like, stuff makes me, like, I'm really passionate about it. So, if you liked it, I hope you like it. And I hope you don't go to SeaWorld, because they're fucked. And I apologize to my cursing, but it's honestly just part of my life. So, I hope you guys have a great day. I know I will. I'm about to get some food. So, bye, guys. Later.